Claire is a creativity guru, and she helps people think outside the box, which is what we all need. So Claire, over to you.
Hi everybody, I'm Claire. Sorry, that was my son Luca who's in the background, so if he interrupts I apologise, but we are where we are. So I just want to say, wow, I mean, what an amazing amount of information so far. I've been scribbling notes down on absolutely everything that's been going through. So I guess following on from your piece, Julia, really, this is now starting to think about, okay, we've got our systems, our process, starting to think about, you know, our HR and the financial side, and just making sure we've got all our ducks in a row. Because I genuinely think that we, you know, going back to what George talked about at the beginning, you know, I'm just too sort of scared or tired or exhausted to think about anything else right now. So, but now it's just sort of starting to think about, okay, next steps are, as you say, how are we going to respond to this challenge, this potential opportunity for our business? And if nothing else, how are we going to pivot to work to some of the new realities of our clients? I saw a note right at the beginning actually on the Q&A, and somebody said, which I thought was a really interesting insight, just thinking about, they're saying actually my clients, my customers are all in shock as well. And I think that's a really good thing to think about as well, when, you know, often when we're trying to be creative, we're sort of trying to position ourselves and sell something, as you say, they're all feeling this fear as well. So I think that's just something also to bear in mind. And I think, so what I've got for you is three things really. One is a brilliant tool for right now to help you be creative with either your team if they're working remotely, or if like me, I'm a limited company but I have lots of associates, work by myself a lot. So that tool that I want to share with you is called usecandor.com, and it's the American spelling. As Julia said, we'll share this in the resources afterwards. So it's usecandor, which is CANDOR.com, and it's an absolutely brilliant tool. It's free. We're just talking about technology. This is a piece of technology, and in actual fact, it's pretty lo-fi. It's based on a website. There's also an app. You get a code and it's basically a post-it brainstorming tool. But what I love about it is it allows people, I think one of the things we have to think about, which we think about if we think about traditional brainstorming in a room with a whole bunch of people, the extroverts are often the ones who, you know, hog the air time, because that's just what we love to do. And don't hate on us introverts, it's just how we are. But actually it doesn't really necessarily allow the introverts an opportunity to talk, or, you know, that they might want time to have a more internal process. So what I love about Use Candor is that it just invites absolutely everybody to get involved. So have a look. I've also written a blog on that, and as I say, it's free. So we'll send those around afterwards. I think the other thing, and I'm going to take some of my own medicine on this, is obviously we want our creativity to be focused. So I think there's two things that I wanted to pick up on. One is this idea of, that you might know, a term coined by Professor Clayton Christensen, the late, which is jobs to be done. And he talks about the fact that we, you know, what are the jobs to be done in terms of our ideal customer, as you were talking about, Julia, those avatars that you push us all to do so much, you know, who's my ideal customer? And what are the emotional and rational reasons why they would buy from us? Now, you might be thinking, where's the creativity in that piece? The creativity is then in using something. There's a great tool called an empathy map to map out what your ideal customer thinks, feels, and is doing and saying now. Now, again, I've written a blog on that. We'll share that afterwards. And there's a template. There's lots of free templates. But the key part to that is what's their pain point and what's their gain point. And I think, again, what's the new reality that they're dealing with, and how can you help them in this time? So that, I would say, you know, before you start thinking about using a brainstorming tool, you want to be focused about what it is that you want to do. But an empathy map is a really great way of doing that. I think I've got 1 minute left. Oh, I know what I was going to say. So the other thing I just thought was great from what I was listening to is something that's so easy, but is simple to think about where to focus your energies. Is a principle called stop, start and continue, which has been made famous by Unilever. And as I was going through the notes, I tell you what Nikki said, well, what I need to start doing is having proper T's and C's, because I'm probably guilty of not doing that. Potentially stop being apologetic about asking for money and being paid. So actually, but it can apply to creativity as well. What's the biggest focus? And I think just my last 20 seconds, I think going back to something like using Candor, if you do have a bunch of suppliers or your team, is to, what have you noticed from remote working that you think is actually an unexpected upside or bonus from you working in a different way. Because I think so much of creativity, we get literally stuck in a rut. That's my alarm. Yep. Is that, you know, what a creativity is helping us to get out of one groove or rut and thinking and into another. But sometimes it just becomes, this is how we do things around here. So I do think the way that we were working, this remote working and having to work differently, is going to give us new and creative opportunities. So my last piece would be about noticing what you're noticing. What do you think you could stop to save you time, make you more productive? What could you start, or what should you start perhaps, and what can you continue? And then you could then brainstorm using Candour something around the way that when you all get back to your desks, it doesn't have to be how it was before, it can be better. So I hope that's helpful. I could talk to you obviously for weeks and weeks.
Thank you, Claire. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much.